Hi, this is Heather Krey, Director of Test Prep for Success, and I'm going to help you solve this SAT math challenge about a distance equals rate times time question. So here's our question of the day. Lena is a security guard who patrols the mall on her Segway, and if the mall where she works has a hallway that is 1,250 feet, and her Segway travels 3 miles per hour, how many seconds will it take her to go down this hallway? And I can see here that the SAT gave me a little bit of help. They told me that 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. I don't know if you have that memorized or not. You don't have to have it memorized for the SAT. They'll always remind you of that number. But it is a good one to know in general. We use it quite a bit. So I can tell from that extra information at the end that a conversion factor is going to be an important part of this question. And so right from the beginning, I'm going to use that, that little hint that they gave me to be super careful with units. They told me that I could mess up with the units by giving me a little bit of a hint here. So let's make sure that I pay attention to that. So the first thing I'm going to do is remember the formula. They will not give you this formula on the SAT. You must have it memorized. But it's really easy to memorize because it just spells the word dirt. I think of it as the dirt formula. And it is distance equals rate times time. That's a super important one to make sure that you know. And then on the side, I'm going to keep careful track of what the values are for distance, rate, and time. And I'm going to be especially careful to write down the units. So my distance here is that 1,250 feet. The rate is 3 miles per hour. And the time, I don't know what that is. That's going to be my variable to solve for. But it's important that they asked for it in seconds. And I'm going to write that down where I'm keeping track of my data here. So you can see I can't just put all of these into the formula because the units don't match. I have feet and miles. Well, they have to be the same. I have to make them match. I think I'm going to go with feet. And this hours and seconds, I have to make them match as well. And I'd better go with seconds. So I think the best strategy here is to convert the rate of 3 miles per hour into feet per second. Once I do that, then all of my units will match. So I'm going to use conversion factors in order to convert this 3 miles per hour into what I need. The first thing I need to do is change miles into feet. So I'm going to start a fraction because miles is in the numerator and I want to change that or get rid of miles. I'll put it in the denominator. So my miles will cancel each other and feet will be coming into the picture and that's going to be in the numerator. I always want this conversion factor to equal 1. So I have to make sure the top and bottom are equal to each other. And I know that 1 mile is 5,280 feet. That's where your conversion factor comes into play. Now it's not just enough to convert miles into feet. I also have to change hours into seconds. In my original data, hours is in the denominator. I want to cancel it, so I'm going to put it in the numerator. Therefore, seconds will go in the denominator. And this is, they're not going to tell you this on the SAT, but it's very handy to know 1 hour is equal to 3,600 seconds. If you can't remember that, you can divide it by 60 twice. You'll just need 2 conversion factors, right? From hours to minutes and minutes to seconds. Hopefully you know that both of those conversions are 60. I think it's faster just to remember that there's 3,600 seconds in an hour. Okay, now it's definitely time to get out your calculator. On my calculator, what I'm going to do is first go across all the numerators, 3 times 5,280, and then divide by the denominators. So it'll be 3 times 5,280 divided by 3,600. I plugged that all in here, and what I got was 4.4. And the units, well, let's see, the miles are going to cancel. The hours are going to cancel, so it will be feet on top and seconds on the bottom. That's exactly what I was going for. Now, my distance matches my rate, and my rate matches my time. I'm ready to plug these values into the original formula. So distance is 1,250. Rate is 4.4. Time is the value I'm looking for. Again, on the calculator, I'm going to divide both sides by 4.4. 1,250 divided by 4.4 is 284 0.0909, and then my calculator keeps on going. So I did not get a round number when I did this. So what I'm going to do is go back to the question and make sure that the question allows me to round my answer. It totally does. It tells me I can round. That tells me that it was fine, that what I got was not a whole number here. And be super careful with this. It says round to the nearest second. So this is going to be 284 seconds. If for any reason what came after the decimal was like a 5, 6, 7, or 8 was a higher number, I would round this up to 285. But because there's a 0 after the decimal in this case, I'm going to leave it at 284. Please be very careful with rounding, because if you go through all this trouble of getting the right conversion factor, solving the question correctly, getting the right answer, and then you round wrong, guess how much credit you get? Nothing. The SAT has no mercy when it comes to rounding errors. So be super careful and triple check your rounding. But this is correct, 284. We're going to write our numbers up here on the grid, and then we're going to bubble them below. So 284. And that's how your final answer should look on the SAT.